Was it the voice? Was it the fire burning in me?
Hello friends, welcome back to another video, or if you are new here, welcome. I am up and ready to get another day started. Today is a slow summer day, so I'm going to use that opportunity to tidy up around the house and also get into some areas that I feel like are neglected quite often. But I'm going to be starting with some coffee. I make coffee ahead of time and let it slow roast all day for the most part, and then I will make it into a batch of iced coffee for the next day. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started so it can brew, and then I can put it together later and enjoy it tomorrow. This is something that I have done just about as long as we have lived down here. Before, when we lived up in the Chicago area, I was a total Dunkin' girly. So moving down here and there is no coffee shops in the area, I kind of had to get creative and find my own iced coffee. I will occasionally drink hot coffee throughout the year, but really I am a iced coffee girl. So I have found a recipe that works really well for me. I consider it similar to what the Dunkin' recipe I would get, but again, I have not had it in years, so I'm not really sure about the comparative, but it is something that works for me. And if you are at all interested in that iced coffee recipe, just let me know down below and I'll make sure that I include it in another upcoming video. I have moved on to switching over our laundry, and as you can see, I already have a pile of clothes that is needing folded and put away. I always swear in my videos that it is just never ending. We are a family of 6 and the laundry never stops. Whenever I feel like I get through our dirty clothes, then it is time to switch over to towels or our bedding. It never ends, and I try to embrace that as much as I can in this stage of life that I'm in, but I just absolutely hate laundry, and it's really just the process of putting it away. However, in the recent weeks, I have gotten very good about it, and I never really get to more than 2 loads of laundry, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I get through it very quick, and I put it on my bed to make sure that I actually have to do it before I go to bed each night. Before I get to the laundry, I'm going to start on some dusting. These things in particular are on the wall and they are so easily forgotten when you're cleaning, and I noticed that there was some cobwebs on the wall, so I wanted to get over here and get these things down, wipe everything down, and then kind of wipe around the wall too. I dust pretty frequently in my house with kids and pets. You just kind of always have to be dusting, I feel like. But I do tend to avoid the stuff on my walls over in this area in particular, and then along the rest of the area in my dining room area. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just baskets and it's just kind of tedious, and so I don't usually mess with it until it really needs done, and at this point it really needed done. The video does not even do it justice because they were really bad, and these were all things that I have kind of accumulated over the years. I've thrifted all of the baskets. The peace sign I made with some yarn that I thrifted, and then I think it's like a needle point hoop, I think is what it's called. I just wrapped the yarn around that and made a peace sign. It's just, I love the area and I love the stuff, but I tend to neglect it. In this area over here, it's the same exact thing. It's stuff that I don't tend to really think about too often. We have my son's beads from when, what are they called? Warrior beads, I think it is, when he was going through all of his treatments and stuff. Each bead means something, whether it be like a surgery or a stay in the hospital. They all mean something, and so I have that, and again, more stuff that I've thrifted. So it just takes a while to get through to all of this, and I tend to really put it on the back burner. So that is why today it has been way too long. So I'm going to get to all of these little spots and bring them back to life so they're not so dusty and it doesn't look like I decorated for Halloween early. These shelves right here, my family refers to them as my weird shelves because it's kind of all the real odd things that I've collected over the years I put on these shelves. Now, when we first moved in here, this was a weird closet. Do you see the depth of it? It's so shallow, and I honestly think they just did that to hide the cord and the outlet box for this the light switch in the room right in back, which is the boys' bathroom. So I think they just made this closet for that purpose only, and there weren't these wooden shelves. My husband added all those, and we did paint it black. There was a door on the outside that kind of was difficult to open, and from the time we moved in until I think it took us like 2 years to add all these shelves in, but we had no idea what the closet was for. We were like, why would they have built this? Was it for like a gun case? You can kind of see right there the silver box. That is the box for the light switch on the other side of the wall. So I don't know, it was super weird. And then we finally realized that I'm pretty sure it was just for the light switch. So we took off the door and we painted it. We added these shelves, and I really just store my knickknacks on it. And then I do have like a little thing that I got from Dollar General, a little sign. I believe it says like welcome home or something like that. And I just put that in front of the light switch box, so you can't even tell that it's there ever. But because these shelves just have knickknacks on them, they accumulate a lot of dust. I don't get to them very often, and they're really, yes, they're right there, but it's almost like a out of sight, out of mind type of thing. We just never think of them. So by the time I get over to dusting them, it's pretty disgusting. Like I said, another thing you can't even really tell. I should have done better at showing you the amount of dust that was accumulated. It was just so disgusting. So I really needed to get in, and I wiped every single piece down. I did wipe the shelves with a dry cloth, and then I'm going back over them with some spray just to make sure they are really good and clean. Now that I have everything wiped down, I'm going to put everything back, and I, for the most part, put everything back where it belongs. There's times where I switch it around, but not usually. And these items are really, I want to say most of them were like gifts. They are things that my kids find and they think are silly, and so they'll gift it to me because I don't know what it is. I just love all those quirky things. I'm a quirky person, and I just love all the quirky things. So they will find stuff and gift me it for Mother's Day or my birthday or, holidays, whatever it may be. We refer to these statues all around our house as David and his friends. So just little things that we have built up over the years, and we store them on these shelves that they refer to as my weird shelves. Also, if I can find the link for these candles, I will share it down below in the description box because they are so cool. Lit up at night. They are plastic. You can also get them in wax, and then they're you can put them on different settings. They have a remote. They can also be put on a timer where they go off each night whenever you set it to go off, for however long you set it to go off. So anyway, they are super cool. They are something that I have had for years, and I just got them on Amazon. They're fairly cheap, so if I can find that link, I'll post it down below. If you have been around for a little while, you will know about the fairy, whatever this thing is right here, the little fairy thing with the candle that you put in it. I always light it around the holidays. I'll have a little tea light candle, and you light it, and the heat from the candle actually makes the fairies spin and fly around until you blow it out. So I know that everybody seems to think it is really cool. This is something that I got off of Temu, but I know there are so many different variations of it that you can find online and probably in thrift stores as well. I just think it's probably a lot harder of a find in a thrift store. Okay, so we are moving on to the kitchen, and I started wiping the counter, and then it kind of dawned on me, why am I wiping around all these clean dishes? So my teens, they usually are the ones to put away all the dishes, and this was just early on, and they hadn't had a chance to get into them, so I stopped and then let them do that before I moved back over to wiping down the counter properly. So that is why you see the dishes and then you don't see the dishes. And I know that I said that I was working on areas that are kind of neglected, and the kitchen is by no means neglected, but it did need cleaned. So that is why we're getting to that. I'm going to do a quick wipe down in the kitchen, and then I'm going to tidy up and get to mopping. But first I was wanting to fill up my diffuser. I already wiped down the counter and it is nice and clean, so I wanted to get the diffuser going. I love doing just like citrus scents. They are my absolute favorite. So I'm doing a citrus scent, and then I believe the other one that I'm doing, I'll show you, I believe, but it's like a mint. So can you even see it? A white jasmine and mint. Those are my favorite scents to put in my oil diffuser. The white jasmine and mint and the lemon, it just smells so beautiful. It smells like summertime. So that is probably my go-to scent. So I'm just putting those in, getting the diffuser going, and then I'll go around, give everything a wipe down. I'm also going to clear a couple of areas that I do tend to neglect in the kitchen, and then I'll get to mopping. Just out of curiosity, did anyone last year experience those really expensive watermelons in the store? I don't know what it was or if it was just in our area, but the watermelons last summer were so expensive that we actually didn't buy very many. Because it was like double the price of what they usually are every year. And I had kind of wondered if it was just that was going to be the new normal price. However, all this summer they're back to half price, or the normal price, which was half price of last year. Anyway, so they're a lot cheaper this year, but I'm curious, did anyone experience that? It was like everybody was talking about, the egg prices and stuff like that, but I'm wanting to know, did anyone experience the really expensive watermelons last year? Because what was that all about? Was there a shortage that I'm unaware of, or maybe it was just in our area in particular? But it was so weird. And I thought, this year I've bought so many, and I'm like, I'm going to buy them while they're super cheap, because last year they were insanely expensive. And but then they've remained that normal price for us all of this summer, which is very, very nice. I'm not complaining by any means. It was just so bizarre, I guess. And I'm curious, did you experience that too? I'm sure it's probably the norm for most households, especially with kids during the summertime, but fruit is my go-to for snacks. It's so easy, and during the summer I kind of like to slow down. It doesn't seem like I've slowed down much this summer, but it's nice to not have to think about that kind of stuff, and so I tend to get all kinds of fruit and slice that up, and then that is usually what we have out by the pool. It's just so nice and easy and fresh, and it just feels like summertime, and I don't have to think about other snacks, because that is usually what my kids go for, especially during the summer months. And like I said, I'm sure that is probably the norm for most households with kids, or during the summertime too. I've seen a bunch of tricks for wiping down like stainless steel appliances, but I haven't really found anything that works crazy good. Someone said something about baby oil, and that kind of scared me a little bit. So if you tried that, please let me know. But the fingerprints, and it seems like there's constantly fingerprints and smears and stuff all over the appliances. And I try to stay on top of it, mostly because it annoys the crap out of me. But anyway, I found that if I wipe everything down with like a wet cloth or a cloth with like cleaner on it, and then I go back through and I actually dry it myself and I don't let it air dry, then it does a lot better with fingerprints and everything coming off, and it actually looks like sparkly clean. So that is what you were seeing me do. I was wiping everything down and then I went through and wiped it with a dry cloth afterwards. But if you know something that works really well at getting the fingerprints and all those, it's like the stove and the microwave really is the worst. They get splatter and just all kinds of, like if I boil water, that kind of goes onto our microwave above the stove and it creates like a little smear on it afterwards, and it just drives me crazy. So if you have any tips, I would love to hear them. But I have found something that just it works really well for me, but it would be nice to not have to do that extra step too. This candle is my all-time favorite candle. It is sweet tea, and you can find them at Hobby Lobby. And I want to say like every other week, or maybe they rotate weeks, I'm not sure, but they are then half price. So that's usually when I like to scoop up candles at Hobby Lobby. But this one has been my favorite, and I love the tins that they come in. So whenever I use the candle and melt it all the way down, then I'll take the rest of the wax out of it, and a lot of times I'll put like a fake plant or something in there just for decoration. And I don't know, I just think it looks cute, so I like to keep the little tins that they come into. So I'm moving along to my fridge, which I'm needing to wipe down again all the fingerprints and everything on it. So I am cleaning it with a microfiber cloth and just some cleaning spray, and then I'll put everything back on it. I also have a little frame collage that I keep on my fridge. I don't really have like magnets and stuff. I used to, and I feel like it kind of drove me crazy too. I have anxiety, so a lot of things kind of get to me, and especially when they're out of place or cluttered. And so I try to minimize that by minimizing the things that get to me. But anyway, so I don't really have like magnets or anything like that anymore. We used to have those little letter magnets on our fridge, but they're hard to see right here, but there are scratches, and it was from the letter magnets. So we removed those, and I have collected these mini frames that I find whenever I'm thrift shopping, and then if I don't like the picture in them, I will just get a picture from a magazine. I like the ones from Wayfair. I think they have really cute stuff in them, so I will often frame the stuff from like a Wayfair magazine, or really, you can even find magazines while you're thrifting to put stuff in these little mini frames. So I took little magnets and I put them on the back of these frames, and then I also used, sticky putty to keep them in place so they weren't scratching the fridge. So that is the little collage that I've created. I'm always adding to it, but it's just whenever I find a little frame that I like at a thrift store. If you are a new viewer, this is where I like to post what we're having each week. And it's mostly just for me, or if my kids are curious what we're having. They are not at all in order. I used to have it listed Sunday through Saturday, but my kids, they would really hold me to it, and sometimes you wake up and you just don't want that. So I like to just list what we're having in no particular order, and then I also at the very bottom will include some little extras that I plan on making. And it's just so I have an idea. I can wake up, look at the list, and take out whatever I need to take out for dinner that night. And if it doesn't sound good any longer, or if I'm missing ingredients, I can just move on to a different one. So I like that way. It works better for me, and it's a little easier when you're a little more chaotic about your meals, and like I am. So I like to plan the meals. It's easier for budgeting purposes, but as far as like planning them per day, I find that I don't stick to it nearly as much. And so that's why I do it the 1 through 7 instead. I'm kind of patting myself on the back a little right here because I have been mopping and doing my floors so much more regularly than I used to. I have really stayed on top of it and it feels so good. I know that when you are in that stage of life where you have littles and life is so busy, I get it. It is hard to stay on top of stuff. And so I feel like, if that is you and you have accomplished something that really seems so little, like, staying on top of mopping, or even if it's just staying on top of sweeping or laundry or whatever it may be that seems, so dull, but also just you don't want to get to it, give yourself a pat on the back because it is, that is just a part of the stage of life that we're in, and it is hard to do those things that seem so mundane. And so give yourself a pat on the back because it is hard. And I feel like we really deserve that pat on the back, even for those little things. If you have made it this far in today's video, thank you so much. I so appreciate you. But go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what kind of stuff you accomplished today. Big, little, it doesn't matter. Let's give each other a pat on the back for whatever we accomplished. So if you did anything today, let me know down below. I know that over the summer it has seemed like my schedule has been a little bit more chaotic than it was for posting, so I do plan on switching that up here, and you will be seeing a lot more of my videos being posted throughout each week. It is just kind of something going with the flow, trying to figure everything out. It is still my first year of posting on YouTube, but I so much appreciate everybody that has been here to support me and my channel and my family. It means so much. I truly love you guys and appreciate you guys so much. But that is all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.